I've finally had a chance to recover from PAX Australia and gather my thoughts on some of the games I saw there. This year, I want to talk about both the video games and the tabletop role-playing games I saw, with some personal reflections in between. Overall, it was great to see more of the major companies back at PAX this year, with Final Fantasy Online, Ubisoft and SEGA displaying on the main floor. What PAX did great was providing more space for indies and PAX Rising this year. Putting the new tabletop and board games in this space was a stroke of genius, because the fact is that people who like video games usually like tabletop role-playing games as well. Surprise, surprise. It really lifted the visibility of games that are otherwise tucked away in the tabletop space. So, without further ado, what were the best games I saw at PAX Aus 2024? First up, I worked my way through some of the newly released bigger games, but the one that impressed me the most was Metaphor ReFantazio. I don't even know how you pronounce that name. ReFantazio? Anyway, Metaphor has been getting outstanding reviews, and after getting my hands on the game, I can see why. Metaphor's gorgeous animations build on the style of the Persona games, but where Persona 5 became repetitive from lack of options in turn-based combat, Metaphor has a unique archetype system which creates endless team combos. The demo left me wanting more, and with the game out now, I am sorely tempted to buy it. There were a lot of platformers at PAX Australia. I mean, I haven't really been a platformer player since Commander Keen, so I was desperate for something different that had firstly, a clear aesthetic, secondly, a clever concept, thirdly, understood the scoping limitations of making an indie, and four, was just damn fun. My Arms Are Longer Now had all of the above. You play a ridiculously long arm causing mischief on public transport, which sounds simple, but what it did very well. I chortled my way through the demo as the arm stole a bike, evaded a transport inspector, and slapped a bunch of innocent people trying to get to work. Don't be surprised if My Arms Are Longer Now becomes the next Untitled Goose Game. Many of the indie games presented at PAX Australia were still in a state of development, and that's fine, but there was a lot of in-progress work on display, much of which needed to be further refined, especially on the writing front. I did see a number of demos which really needed to be tightened up. There were several games that nearly made the cut here, but I'd like to see more of them first. For me, it comes down to a few questions. Why would I want to play this? What makes this special? How does this change me as a player? These were a few games which had the spark of something that could actually be really great. So the first one was The Drifter. Now, I'd seen The Drifter exhibited in 2023, so I didn't replay the demo, but it's a nostalgia-rich point-and-click adventure which immediately shoots the player into the adventure. None of this faffing about with boring character introductions. You play a murdered drifter who awakes seconds before his death. It's wild, gonzo, with hints of Lovecraft, and as an old-school LucasArts fanatic, I'm very keen to play this in full. The second game was The Rewinder 2, continuing the tradition of pixel art adventures, which, I happen to have a soft spot for. The Rewinder 2 intrigued me with its original world building. You play a rewinder with the power to purify spiritual corruption in the world of Eastern gods. Thematically, it reminded me of Okami, and look, that's not a bad thing. I do love Okami. With a cast of quirky characters and evocative locations, the game piqued my curiosity enough to want to keep playing. So this game I didn't get a chance to play. It's Corporeal, and I really wish I did, but I ran out of time to wait for the demo while somebody was on it. And it's a paranormal mystery where you piece together a haunted family photo album. And when I saw this, I was like, finally, an art game on display at PAX. Something a bit different where the designers are really thinking about making something that plays with how we tell interactive stories. This is the high concept work I wanted to see more of at PAX. Please give me that demo because I am hanging out for it. Then there's just the weird one I need to talk about. The award for sheer gonzo batshit crazy meme dream goes to 420 Blaze It 2 Game of the Year. So it's a top secret first-person shooter in which you infiltrate an Illuminati headquarters with your guns blazing, memes popping, and all the Comic Sans you can handle. It's not a bad shooter either. It's just so wacky I had to talk about it. Now, on the tabletop role-playing side of things, I do want to talk about two games. And the first one I felt had amazing mechanics in it, and that's Fight with Spirit by Story Brewers Role-Playing. Now, they've made a name for themselves with emotionally driven role-playing games that balance storytelling and mechanics to perfection. Fight with Spirit is a sports role-playing game inspired by teen anime sports dramas. It would be easy for a sports-themed game to focus on either the mechanics of winning above the emotional connection between your teammates, but what I saw at Fight with Spirit really balanced these two. Like in any team, emotional connections and conflicts between characters affect player performance, and the level of finesse and refinement in these mechanics was seriously impressive. Added to this, Fight with Spirit is a beautifully presented product, and it's one I'll be picking up when I don't spend all my fun money on miniatures and Good Society instead. And the other game I wanted to talk about was one I actually got to sit down and play, and that is Lucien Impala's World of the Hidden Folk. So I had heard rumors of Lucien Impala's talent well before I'd met them, so I thought I'd take the chance to sit down at their table and play the World of the Hidden Folk. When you take a punt on a random tabletop game at a convention, you don't know who you're going to sit down with or what's going to happen. I was exhausted at the end of 3 days at PAX, and to be honest, I have been personally going through a rough time with family illness, so my emotional thresholds were pretty low at this point. Sometimes the world knows what you need at those times. Not only were my fellow players just wonderful, Impala's straightforward 1d4 system gave me the soul-uplifting experience I needed. In their game, you can engage with the world in either human or fey ways, and these choices shape the world and have the potential to change you as a player and character as well. Roles are there to facilitate the story. I mean, there's no getting bogged down in mechanics, it's very simple. The game started out by trying to navigate a dispute between a tree and some music-making gnomes, and it ended with the concert of the century, Neem, the king of Knock and Knoll, taking the spotlight after a shared effort to boost his confidence. And this was a sheer delight for me. I was so impressed, and thanks to the people I played with as well. So that's my top video games and tabletop role-playing games from PAX Australia. If you saw something you loved, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what your favourites were. I'm Kat Clay, a Melbourne-based game writer and reviewer. If you liked this video, do hit that subscribe and bell icon, and thanks so much for watching.